Shanti. Good morning. Baba tells us Jivan Mukti in a second. And so what are we still doing here? And especially those of us who've been with Baba for 1 decade, 2 decades, 3 decades plus. What am I still doing here? And yes, it's true that realization takes a second. But it seems that the journey up to that moment of deep realization that's able to actually facilitate transformation, that journey seems to be a long one. And for those who are Baba's new children, I don't want to be discouraging in any way, but yet it does seem to take time to get to know myself and my sanskars. In a way, it's not so difficult to know God, because God presents himself exactly as he is. But to get to know myself and all my sanskars of many, 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 many births, or the bit of the iceberg that's hidden below the surface, that journey seems to be taking time. And each time I come to Madhuban, not just to the end of the journey, but I can't predict at what point during the journey there'll be a powerful insight and something that stays with me through that season from Madhuban. And this time, it's been 2 things that happened very close together. One was at some point, where it must have been maybe the Thursday or the Friday, and in that, Daddy had taken up the subject of shadows and omens, grahachari, and then how that leads to obstacles, and then the causes of both of these, and the way to deal with both of these. And then the Sunday, it wasn't this last Sunday, but the Sunday before. And some of you were still back in your service places. Madhuban is home, so I won't say back home. Madhuban is home. But wherever it is, we are out on service. That's our service place. And so many of you were still back there in your service places maybe. And that was a Murli in which Baba spoke about deep realization and the ladder of realization, and how the first step of that ladder was to recognize that there was something wrong and to ask for forgiveness about it, and to have repentance for it. And Baba said it's all 3 things are the same. To recognize what it is, to seek forgiveness, and then to repent. And these 2 Murlis, this class and this Murli coming together, really had a very deep impact on me. And the question that I had was, why does it take so long even to come to that acknowledgement and then to seek forgiveness? And there's obviously a few reasons. And Daddy had spoken about the omens and shadows, the grahachari, as being a state in which, because the intellect was under that shadow, it wasn't even recognizing at first that there is something wrong. And also she connected the state of carelessness that allowed body consciousness to continue. Nobody's 100% soul conscious, but at least if I'm acknowledging that yes, this is the area I need to work in, and I'm giving it that attention, then the soul consciousness drops and I bring myself back again to soul consciousness, away from body consciousness. But a stage of carelessness where the soul consciousness has dropped and there's now body consciousness, and the body consciousness is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And I'm not even recognizing that that's what's going on, because now the intellect is being clouded, shadowed. And of course then, in that state, little mistakes start happening, and then maybe there's a big mistake that happens. And by the time you're at the point of a big mistake, and then many things kick in. And the first thing is that, of course, one mistake allows the old sanskars to start emerging again. Because for most of us, we haven't actually burnt away the sanskars with so much yoga power. We're managing our sanskars by following the code of conduct that Baba has prescribed. And that's good. At least now there's no more additional burden that I'm incurring. I'm at least moving in the right direction. I'm not removing the burden of the past, but I'm not adding to it any further. And so in this condition where carelessness and body consciousness have created a situation of a mistake, and the mistake has triggered the old sanskars, then this is what Baba was talking about so clearly. That there's a method that Baba has formulated that we have to follow. And if we don't follow that method, then the mistakes continue to accumulate. And the method of breaking that vicious cycle of mistake, old sanskars, and more mistakes, and an accumulation of all of that, the way to break that vicious circle is to speak about it. Write a letter to Baba and give it to Dadi while you're here in Madhuban. Or write a letter to Baba and send it to Madhuban. There's a mechanism somewhere, but it needs to be stated, it needs to be acknowledged and said, rather than thinking, oh, I just need to have a little bit more yoga and it'll get sorted out. Because the hesitation of the soul to speak about it to a human being, because speaking about it to God incorporeal is very simple, very easy. But in Sakar, it was come and speak about it or write to Sakar Baba. And when Baba became Avyakt, then it was a question that people had. What now? And Avyakt Bab Dada clarified that it's important to speak about it with those who are the instruments made responsible. Baba used that expression, speak to the instruments who are responsible. And Baba meant the Dadis. And so we're lucky that we still have that possibility of being able to communicate with the Dadis. And so from God to Brahma Baba to humans. And Brahma Baba, yes, a human, but very much close to God, and so on a way, on one level, a little bit easier. But then humans, the Dadis are human. Yes, they're much further ahead than us. But you can see where the questions can come. And yet, the whole system of being able to let go of my ego and body consciousness becoming more and more strong, then of course it becomes ego. And together with the ego, there's fear. What are they going to say? What are they going to think of me? What's going to happen now? And so it becomes a trigger for many, many other waste thoughts to come. And they cloud the issue. What is Baba's method? What is Baba's formula? Let me use that formula. And having spoken of it, it really becomes a huge liberation. It's not yet a liberation from the burden, but it's a liberation from that vicious circle. Because then it's less likely that you're going to repeat the same mistake. Because you've been able now to confront it. And so the promise that this brings, honesty, means that I'm learning to deal with my ego. It also means that I'm able to seek blessings and guidance. And it's actually much easier than you would first imagine, in the sense that just as Baba was extremely compassionate, I say was in the sense of the corporeal form, but Baba extremely compassionate. When you tell a mortal of your mistake, then there's a possibility that you provoke anger and a reaction. And the important thing here is to understand that there's not going to be a reaction that comes. Rather, there's going to be a lot of compassion and a lot of kindness, and also guidance given as to how to deal with something for the future. There is never going to be a reaction, because that's why Baba has chosen them to be his instruments responsible. All of us are instruments on one level, absolutely true. But then, the ones who have been made the instruments responsible, now we don't all carry the load of the yajna on our shoulders in the same way. And the daddies would say, what load? I'm a child, I'm Baba's child, I'm light and easy, but they're responsible. And they're not going to react. I think if I'm still holding back because of my fear that they're going to react, then I haven't yet understood who these instruments are and why Baba has put them there. And so to recognize that is again a big step. It's an important step. And then to let go of my fear and then see that, yes, it's okay. The world is still standing. I'm still sitting. And it's okay. And it just means that putting your foot on that first step of that ladder of realization means that the door has opened for me to move ahead further. And it still needs for me to do two very, very important things. One is to really be able to have the quality of yoga that I need to have to burn away whatever it is I've added on further with my mistake. And of course, there's still the account from many, many births that I haven't even touched. And so it needs another step in which, instead of making external action my priority, and that's the easiest thing in the world to do. And Nadi said the other day, yes, you're all very, very busy, but you're all very busy sorting out your own sanskars. It's not that you're all so busy in service and reality, true. How much am I busy in service? And how much am I busy in my own sanskars and dealing with all the things that come up with my sanskars? Correct? But escapism is also through service. Action, action, this is what we're used to doing. Results. And the interesting thing is that the sort of results that we want, for most of us, isn't happening. And that's because it has to be with yoga power that we get results. It's not going to be just through the action that we get results, but the additional power that we have that's going to make results happen is yoga power. And so if instead of focusing on the action, I focused more on the yoga power, or I make yoga power my priority, then making that my priority will give me greater strength and deeper understanding in terms of what it is I have to do. And so the greater strength and deeper understanding means there'll be a lot more clarity in terms of service. And of course then, the service is going to bring additional benefits, additional results beyond the capacity that normally I'm capable of, because I brought God into the picture. And so God's power is now working with me, instead of me on my own. Me doing service. Yes, it's with very pure intentions, it's good intentions, it's not selfish, it's not because of name and fame, it's none of that. But it's still just me on my own. But me with the Almighty, God's power is going to make that much difference, and the results are going to be that much more beautiful and effective. And so when I start making yoga my priority, there's a protection from any more mistakes. There's greater results also. But also I need to bring my yoga to a level where I can actually feel that yes, my sins are now being burnt away. And when this starts happening, then one of the things that's immediately noticeable is that your mind is no longer pulled by that situation. I've made a mistake, I've sought forgiveness, but now I'm engaged in the power that I can get through yoga, and it's going to clean my mind out from that particular error. Otherwise, even after seeking forgiveness, that situation comes back in your mind and it's there. And yoga power means I'm erasing that, I'm deleting that. There's still the burden from the past, which means that until I've settled that, my sanskars won't actually have changed. And so the whole story of the mechanism of transformation is within all of this. The other thing, of course, that happens when I do good karma It's during the field of action that I'm interacting with many other people. And again, within that interaction, it's an opportunity for me to learn, if I take it as that possibility. Every interaction that I have on the field of service, just imagine you and you're on your own, 2 people, 5 people, even 10, 20, 50 people that you have to work with. It's a very different situation to working with people in a huge way. At least that's what happens in London. There's 300 people in class on a daily basis, and you're interacting with a good number of them. And you're not just interacting on a superficial level. You're interacting with people who are sorting out all their sanskars, and you're sorting out all your sanskars. So interaction can be pretty intense, and the reactions can be more intense than they would ever be outside. And this is why people come back saying that, well, people don't even behave like this out there, and so how come it's happening here? Well, it's happening because it's a process of cleansing. Many, many births and scars coming up. And the easiest thing would be to say, okay, let me forget about all this and just sit at home, study the Murli and have my yoga. And I'll just keep those sanskars with me, because I won't even know what the depth of my own sanskars are. But being in that interaction means, again, am I taking it as an opportunity not to say, what are they doing, but to see, what am I doing? And again, this Murli of 2 weeks ago, it's nearly 2 weeks now. When the Murli started, I didn't realize that Baba was going to come to that whole subject of seeking forgiveness and repentance and all of that. Because it started with the subject of the quality of your words, the quality of your speech. Who remembers that Murli? Well, there's usually a time lag with translation. So let me ask the question again. Who remembers that Murli of 2 weeks ago? I'm a little bit surprised because as I was hearing that Murli, I hadn't read it before. I was hearing it at that moment. But every sentence was having such an impact on me, I thought that it must be being imprinted on everybody's mind in the same way as it was happening with me. And about half remember it, but the other half are maybe shy, but they're not acknowledging it. But in that first part of the Murli, Baba spoke a lot about the quality of words, because Baba was taking us through the whole thing of thoughts, words and actions. But in terms of words, Baba said, every time you speak, ask yourself the question, are these words that are going to be uplifting for me? And are they uplifting for another? Or are they going to be words that are damaging for another? Are they going to be words that hurt another? And if they're hurting another and they're damaging another, then certainly they're not going to be words that uplift me. That's understood. I don't have to underline that. The Baba said, let there be words filled with spirituality, words filled with love, words filled with compassion. There are about 5 different things that Baba mentioned, all in a line. Words that are filled with power, words that are filled with encouragement, words that are filled with upliftment. And then it's not just words that are for anyone else in that way, but they're also words for me in that way. And so through my day, meditation is fine. I'm listening to the Murli, and maybe the quality of my attention when I'm listening to the Murli back there is different to the quality of my attention when I'm listening to Murli here. Well, that's okay, at least if I realize that. And if today I'm listening to the Murli with that attention, then there's something that I'm carrying that's going to be helping me not only through the day, but it's actually also going to be informing the quality of my Amrit Vela the next day. It has a continuation and an impact. So I'm aware of Gyan and the impact it has on my mind. And I've heard the Murli. Stop, begin your responsibilities, lokik, alokik, whatever they may be. But then it's external, external, external. And I'm using all my energy. Then, at the end of the day, not just my mind very far from Baba, but also the feeling of physical tiredness. And next morning, the quality of my Amrit Vela, what's that going to be? And so powerful thoughts, as distinct to ordinary thoughts, never mind negative or waste. But Baba doesn't want me to have even ordinary thoughts. Baba wants me to have powerful thoughts through the day. But that's still on a subtle inner level. But words. When you listen to Dadi at any time, morning, afternoon, evening, any time, and you go to her with some business, and people say, we just want to meet Dadi 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, we just want to give her something. And those of us who are around Dadi, we know it's not going to be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Why? Because Dadi's not content with that. Because anyone who comes in front of her, she wants to give you drishti. And the power of drishti of a yogi is that even if you're somewhere down here before, or in a little bit all around here, the yogi's drishti will pull you back and put you on your seat. And so she wants you to come back to your seat. Sometimes we're in a hurry, or other people are in a hurry, and they say, Dadi, hold on. And she'll give you drishti, and she'll bring you back here. And then the first thing she wants to hear from you is, what is your stage? She'll ask you, what do you want to say? And you'll start talking about this and that. No. That is asking about you. That is not asking about these things. Asking about you. And then whatever it is the person says, then she wants to add something from Baba's Murli. And it'll be the Murli of the day. Whatever it is that's fresh in her mind. So that's what she's sharing. And so that's why the 3 minutes becomes an extended time. But it's a very powerful lesson for all of us. Whatever she's saying, well, obviously her mind is with Baba, but whatever she's saying is always, always uplifting for us, always bringing us closer to Baba. Baba's Murli is up here, but we're seeing here a human being who's capable of doing this and doing this as an ongoing thing, not just from time to time, but daily, all the time. When I interact with people, okay, so they're coming to me with business, with something else. But is the quality of the words that I speak to them, is it down here? Or is it waste? Or is it mundane, ordinary? Or is it uplifting for me and uplifting for them? If I'm checking this, then I'll know which direction I'm going in. And the quality of the words we use has an impact here and an impact there. Power there, upliftment there, and the same here. But negativity, or even ordinary, and the impact is here. And so I wasn't thinking of Baba when I spoke, but having spoken, that's going to take me down further. I don't stay static in Sangam Yuga. It's either there or it's there. And so I very consciously have to make sure that every moment is in that direction and not in this direction. The burden that I'm creating through negativity we know about, but the energy that I'm losing through waste, Baba's making us aware of that, very much so. But also, in the ordinary stage, it's ordinary, it's not good, it's not bad, but it's just mundane. But of course, in the ordinary stage, what's happening is that I'm exposed to anything and everything that's negative. If I'm moving upwards through my awareness and my consciousness, and my words are of upliftment, then even though the energy field around here might not be so powerful, but my presence is making it powerful. Today Baba's, was it the slogan or the blessing? The slogan, I think. Mansa Seva. Just simply turn the negative into positive. And that's the proof of the power of my own thoughts and my own mind. But the negativity is here because we're not perfect. And I'm talking about a Brahman environment, I'm not talking about the Lokik. But the negativity is here, and I'm not consciously moving up. I'm just at that ordinary stage, which is body conscious actually, but is just here. Then definitely the negativity is going to have an impact on me, and then I'll say, but what can I do? Things are the way they are. This is how things are. That is a reality. It's not my imagination, it's not an illusion. Everything is negative here. But where am I? And the effect of that on me depends on where I am. And I'm going down, then of course all that is something that's going to be absorbed very quickly. And I'm here, and it's going to start impacting me. And I'm going to start going down in that direction. I'm up here, and there's going to be a ripple effect of those vibrations, and others are going to start coming up with me also. And so, if after every interaction, during the traffic control time maybe, I just take a moment to ask myself, what was it like? How's it been through the last hour? You know, when Baba says carelessness allows the shadows to come, again I was thinking that, yes, well, one carelessness is that we don't pay as much attention to soul consciousness as we should. And so the influences of negativity start coming on. But the other carelessness is where you do have all the signals that are coming, like the traffic control, for example. It's a beautiful signal. And yet, I'm not paying attention to that signal. I'm doing it out of a sense of duty. I'll stop talking or I'll stop moving. But I'm not really taking advantage of that opportunity to use my mind to really either become deeply soul conscious, connect with Baba, or to check myself. And that 1 minute of traffic control, or 3 minutes, whatever it is actually an opportunity for me to do that. And this has been something that Baba initiated. It wasn't something that we just discovered by chance, let's try this out. But Baba told us, this is what you have to do. Way back in 77, Baba told us, play music so that everything stops and everybody is able to have that minute. And at that time we used to have it not every hour, but a few times a day. And now every hour. And so to be able to check my thoughts, to be able to check my words, and of course with words what's happening, not just the impact here and my stage going down, sliding down gradually, but what's the impact on the other? The things I've shared with them, has it uplifted them or has it dampened them? Or has it really pulled them down? But also it's an impact on the atmosphere. I'm speaking to one, and maybe there's nobody else around, but somebody walks in just a minute later and they can feel from the vibrations of the atmosphere what's going on. Really, they can. It's serious, it's bad, or it's beautiful, and it's lovely, and it's joyful. Whatever it is, at that moment that a third person comes in, they can pick it up. And of course, if there are people already there, then they've seen, they've heard, they've felt. And so the reverberations of that is far, far, far greater. And there's a story that somebody told me, and the story was that here's a person talking very badly to another. And this isn't a BK story, so it's not of this family, but a story from out there. So here's a person speaking very badly of another, and they're really berating them. And that scene finishes, and the person who's been speaking talks to another who makes them understand that what they've said is not really so good. And they say, well, what can I do about it? And they say, okay, here's a piece of paper. Now tear it into little pieces and now blow them out. And all the little pieces get blown out everywhere. And they say, okay, can you collect and put all those pieces back together again? Can you imagine? It's not just you blowing out the pieces, but the wind has also blown them away. And so the point that once something's been out, it's out there. And to gather it all back together again and to put it together, it's not possible. It's actually karma that's happened. Words are karma. Mind, thoughts is karma. Words are karma. And then, of course, physical actions are karma. And so Baba spent a lot of explanation on that whole thing about why your words are so important and what the quality of your words is remembered through the whole cycle, and beautiful things. I won't repeat any more of that, but just this point that that stage of carelessness where I'm allowing shadows to come on me, or that he further said I was really shocked by, that is said that 95% of the Brahmin family have some form of shadow or another. And again, just thinking about this, here's a person and I'm seeing their negativity. And I'm speaking of their negativity. But why is this happening? Whatever they are, they are. Whatever I am is up to me. I can't do anything about what they are, but I can do something about who I am and what I'm doing, definitely. But I'm allowing their negativity or what I'm perceiving as bad. Maybe it's not, whatever. But that's influencing me. And so the shadow of that person is coming over me. There's a story that Adi relates about this, and she says how at one point she was with Baba, Brahma Baba, and somebody had seen what was happening and came back and spoke to Baba about this and said, Baba, this is what's happening. And Baba said, but it's happening to them. Why is it showing on your face? Okay, you can let me know what's going on, but whatever has happened, there's a shadow on your face at this moment. And so another person's behavior or sanskars influencing me and shifting me from where Baba wants me to be, it's a shadow. And if I allow that shadow to continue, and the more I think about it, the greater the influence of that. And so, how many shadows are we carrying? How many people are we interacting with who are having an influence on us in this way? And of course, there's also the other side in which I'm impressed by somebody. And so instead of recognizing that it's God who's the ocean that they've been able to draw from, but impressed by them, and that also becomes a shadow. And so this type of carelessness where I'm not realizing how I'm allowing these influences to work on me, and any moment that I'm not experiencing the joy of Sangam Yuga, I'm not experiencing God's love, I'm not experiencing lightness in my life. These three things are instantly things that you can check. Am I experiencing the happiness of Sangam Yuga? Am I experiencing God's love? Am I experiencing lightness? And if I'm not experiencing these, then why not? I'm Baba's child, I've recognized Baba, I've come to Baba, and yet I'm deprived of the things that Baba wants to give me. So Baba's giving them to me, Baba's not putting a limit on it, or Baba's not saying, not for you, only for you. The beauty of God's love is that it's big, 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 big. It's so big that there's enough for everyone. And if I'm not experiencing it, then it's something that I'm doing or not doing. And usually it's these shadows that have come because of carelessness. And so just opening my mind through soul consciousness and humility and honesty, that yes, this is the condition that I'm in, is going to protect me and save me from any further mistakes. But also that state of where I've made a mistake, and okay, so I want to come to that point where I'm able to break that cycle of mistakes and sanskars and so on. Within that again, I'm seeing that one of the factors that comes in there, where again, there must be pain I'm experiencing, there must be sorrow that's there, because the result of a mistake is sorrow. And if I'm experiencing sorrow at that point, I just need to have one little understanding that will then help me go beyond all of this. And that is that no other person is the cause of my sorrow. I am responsible. Very simple and yet amazingly powerful realization. I am the cause of my own sorrow. I accept that deeply, sincerely, and then maybe I'm going to come to that point where I'm able to acknowledge the mistake that I have made, and then also understand what it is I need to do to put it right. And so the combination of Nadi's class and this Murli made me feel that, yes, it's easy to claim mukti and jivan mukti from Baba if I allow that realization to deeply come. And I can start then working on my sanskars and using Baba's power to clean all the old sanskars. But I feel more and more that the time is now. There was a conversation that a few people had with Dadi Gulzar that within the first couple of hours when I'd arrived. And a small group just happened to be with Dadi Gulzar. It happened just by chance. And this person was saying to Dadi, Baba keeps telling us we have to hurry up. And then we see that, yes, there's a little bit more time, a little bit more time, a little bit more time. But is there going to come a time when Baba says, okay, you're not ready, that's fine, but this is it. The drama is now ready. At the moment, Baba still is saying that you're not ready. And so drama gets extended a little bit more, a little bit more. But is there going to be a time when drama says no more? And Daddy said, yes. How can drama continue to infinity? It's indefinitely. There has to be a moment when Baba says, okay, whoever's ready is ready, and whoever's not ready is, that's it. This is the point that you reach. And so I'm feeling a sense of urgency at the moment, that whatever the external circumstances will be, I don't know. But it's like Baba's still giving us a chance, giving us a chance, giving us a chance. And then, I think it was last December. It was last December, not last season, it's the season, in which Baba actually used the word too late. Do you remember that? Twice Baba used that term. Usually Baba says, you've come late, but not too late. And that point Baba said, you've come too late, but it's okay. Still, move fast and claim your inheritance. So Baba's language is giving us an indication. So let me really take the opportunity, especially in Madhuban, to go deep into the self and have that realization that I need to have to make the shift. Om Shanti.